All right, this is not one of those fear videos. This is a give you a heads up. Well, the government said it themselves. They feel during the election, there's going to be a huge civil unrest. Now, have we had them before in the past? Yes. But this one, they're saying huge, massive. Will it happen or not? I don't know. But it's not looking likely that it won't. It's looking more like it would. Will it happen in November? Maybe January? We don't know. And another one is the cyber attack. Yeah. I know we've been hearing about cyber attacks for quite a long time, but this time, I don't know. I'm thinking not if it'll happen, it's more when will it happen. And let's think about it. If we have a civil unrest, well, that could be very catastrophic also. Just, we've seen in the past what can happen. And if this one's massive. My other huge concern where I think we should all start preparing is the cyber attack. Again, I don't say if, I think when. And there are some things we can all do to start preparing for it, such as, having water on hand. Now, you don't have to have massive amounts, but have some water or some filtration device on hand. Have some canned food supplies. Canned food lasts forever. Some of it might not be the healthiest, but I'm telling you, it's better than nothing. I was all caught off guard during Hurricane Ian. Because what happens here in Florida, we hear of these threats of hurricanes. We're like, yeah, heard it before. Sure, there's a hurricane coming. And then next thing you know, before we know it, a hurricane's here. And we're like, oh no, what do we do? Hurricane Ian, I seen it coming in from the West Coast. I wasn't worried at all. I figured it would just, die out by the time it got to the East Coast. I was wrong. I was stuck in my home, no AC, no electric. Very little food, not even much canned food. And if I did, I only had electric can opener. It was getting down to the pretty nitty scary. Also, if you're like me, an addict to coffee, I don't know if you ever tried quitting coffee. You go a day, you are almost like bedridden if you drink at least 3-4 cups a day like I do. You gotta have coffee on hand or you're gonna be out. I'm serious. There's just so much you need to prepare for. Hurricane Ian was a huge wake-up call for me. I've been thinking lately. I like to go to the marina and think a lot about how much over these years things have changed. I mean, I'm not a 20-year-old. And not to say a 20-year-old couldn't figure this out. We have well-documented history records. But I've lived through so much like many of you. And I sit and I think, and I tell you what, I have a huge change coming up. Huge. For those of you that have been following me for years now, I think you're going to be quite surprised. I myself didn't even see this coming, and I'll explain in a future video what it is and why it's happening. But I really feel it's for the better. So I just really like y'all to be prepared. There's some big things coming up that I think we all should be prepared for. I mean, we know the real estate market, that has been changing quite a bit. I mean, it's not good as it is right now. And truthfully, I think it's going to be at least another year till we start seeing any type of change, hopefully for the better. I mean, the market is what the market is. It always goes up and it goes down and down. But this time it's been a bad one, and we don't know what's going to happen. Again, it's like when these hurricanes come through, we're just like, heard it before. Well, we heard of the cyber attacks before in the civil unrest. And we're like, oh, yeah, heard it before. Well, what if this is the one? Don't you want to protect yourself, your loved ones, your family? Don't you want to be at least somewhat prepared? That's all I'm trying to express here is be at least somewhat prepared. Have water, have canned foods, have a non-electric can opener available. Have, if you're up north and it's going to be cold, because we don't know when it's going to happen, have extra, blankets, wood burning fireplace, whatever you need to do to protect you and your family, to be prepared. I'm going to put a video below here. I'll put a link to a video below where they even state in this video how the media is not covering this, and that most Americans are unaware, unprepared for what is about to happen. And I know, a lot of the Christians are going to say, well, I have complete faith in God. Well, I do too. And God's brought me through a lot, and I believe God's pushing me through this next huge major change in my life. But you also have to take action. You can't just sit back and wait and hope and pray. Just please, I'm begging you, please be prepared. Take some action. I'm not saying tons or spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, but do what you can. Have you ever been through a hurricane where all the gas pumps are running out of gas because everyone was coming in and out of the state and they couldn't fuel it? I remember coming back early from a hurricane. Myself and my kids, we evacuated New Orleans. We were coming back. It was bone dry. I kept pulling over at these gas stations that were out of gas. Finally, I got behind somebody that had gas, but they're filling all these jugs of gas. And I was like, oh my God, please don't use it all. Let me just put something in my car. I want to get my kids and I home safely. It gets ugly real quick during these crazy pandemic type times. People get desperate and they don't even make sense. They're guzzling all the gas, and I'm sitting here with 2 babies in the car about ready to run out of gas. Now, this was years ago. They're fully grown, but it was very, very scary. It was a very, very trying time. They used to price gouge too. I think they still do. I mean, it's illegal, but during pandemic, one of my friends was so desperate for Lysol, she said she paid $150 for 2 cans on Amazon. If that ain't price gouging, I don't know what is. So just prepare yourself, and because if this cyber attack, I believe when the cyber attack happens, no electric, no gas, no bank. You can't even charge or gas up your car eventually, possibly. There's no internet, no cell service. What are we going to do? If you have any tips or advice, I'd love to hear it. Please comment below. I think we all need to be prepared for this. And some of the things I think we should stock up on, at least like a 3-day supply, would be, like I mentioned earlier, water filtration type system. Also food. I mentioned preferably lots of canned food. Make sure you have a can opener that's not electric. Canned food can last forever, but get, maybe some beans and some vegetables and just some staple foods that can help in case this does happen. Also, medical supplies, stock up on a little bit extra in case there's an emergency or you're not able to get to the pharmacy. Even things such as aspirin and Band-Aids and stuff just to have it on hand. It's better to need it than not. Also, security. We don't know how this is going to happen, what's going to take place. But you want to be prepared and arm yourself. Again, not to scare you, but like I mentioned, people get a little cray-cray during emergency when they're in survival mode. And I think some people are preparing all their lives. I've watched the YouTube videos. You probably have too. Some really take this to heart, and they are ready, and they're ready to go to battle. Have a source of light. Candles, flashlight, extra batteries. And if you can, make sure you have like some cooking, a grill or some type of propane. Stock up on propane for your cooking. And lanterns. Lanterns not for cooking, but also I just remembered for light would be a good choice also. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. I'm doing it because I love you all, and I want you all to take care and be safe. Till next time.